The conquest of the Indian subcontinent began inside a corporate boardroom. It was a hostile takeover executed by a private multinational, using profit margins to justify the collapse of a sovereign state. This map shows the Bengal province in the early 18th century. Within the Mughal Empire, this region served as the undisputed crown jewel of global trade. The economic scale was staggering. 60% of Asian goods imported into Britain originated exclusively from this province. Operating deep within this wealthy territory was the British East India Company. They were a foreign multinational corporation, granted a royal charter to establish fortified trading posts along the major riverways. The company arrived in Bengal to extract shareholder value from the world's most lucrative market, prioritizing the growth of the ledger over the acquisition of territory. The Mughal emperor had granted the company a dastak, a corporate tax exemption pass. However, British officials soon used this pass to cover their private side hustles, diverting tax revenue away from the local treasury and directly into their own pockets. The company eventually escalated its presence by building heavy military fortifications, including Fort William, without seeking permission from the local government. In 1756, the new Nawab, Siraj ud-Daulah, demanded that foreign traders obey local laws and pay state taxes to support the administration. When the company ignored his orders, the Nawab seized their unauthorized forts and successfully captured Calcutta. This was a direct struggle between state law and corporate interest. For the East India Company, the local government had become a trade barrier that needed to be removed to protect their bottom line. When company executive Robert Clive arrived to retake Calcutta, he faced a 50,000-strong Bengal army with a force of only 3,000 men. As this chart shows, direct combat was tactical suicide. Clive pivoted to corporate espionage, tasking an envoy with finding the exact price tag required to buy off the Nawab's inner circle. He targeted Mir Jafar, the army's commander-in-chief, and Jagat Seth, the state's most powerful banker. Clive formalized the betrayal with a secret corporate contract signed by both the East India Company and the Bengali conspirators. The contract guaranteed Mir Jafar the throne in exchange for absolute tax-free monopolies and vast tracts of land for the company. The outcome of the war was mathematically decided in a closed-door negotiation months before the armies ever reached the field. On June 23, 1757, the two armies met in the mango groves of Plassey. A sudden heavy downpour soaked the Nawab's unprotected gunpowder, rendering his heavy artillery useless. The British maintained their fire by covering their gunpowder with tarps, giving their smaller force a lethal technical advantage. Following the death of a loyal commander, Mir Jafar executed his act of sabotage by advising the Nawab to immediately retreat. The Nawab's army followed the order, but the lack of leadership caused the movement to devolve into a total psychological collapse. The soldiers fled the field without offering a real fight. The 50,000-man Bengal army was defeated by the terms of a secret contract. Betrayal had ended the fight before the company's infantry even needed to advance. Mir Jafar took the throne, but he functioned solely as a puppet CEO for the East India Company boardroom. In what is now called the open loot of Bengal, the company drained the royal treasury to pay out its corporate stakeholders and military officers. This chart shows the devastating economic loop that followed. The company used Bengal's own tax revenue to buy Bengal's manufactured goods. The company no longer needed to import gold or silver from Britain to trade. They were siphoning the subcontinent's wealth for free. Plassey proved that a profit-driven corporation could hollow out an empire from the inside. This corporate victory provided the economic and political blueprint for 200 years of British colonial rule.